Hey, and welcome to the third vodcast for nicksmoot.com. My name's Nick, and this is a part of Simple Mentoring and the Mythos Project, which are the nonprofit for what we're doing all this under. And if you want to know more about that, please come on April 2nd to the Coeur d'Alene Public Library at 6:15 p.m. I have one of our board members here with us today. I'm going to put him on camera all of a sudden. It's Rob Croyle. I'm actually getting ready to have a meeting with Rob, but before I have the meeting with Rob, while he's texting and working on something over there, I want to talk with you guys about influencers and kind of the authority in your life for teens. Something's happened in culture. There's a bunch of reports out there that state when you're young, you view your parents as the authority on everything. You know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a season in life where if your parent is asked, say you think there's a monster under your bed, you look at your mom or your dad and you say, hey, will you make sure there's no monsters under my bed if you're convinced there is one? And they look under there and they say there's no monster. And you say, thank you. And the monster's gone. You believe them, you trust them, and they told you there's no monster. Then all of a sudden you hit this age where you start becoming, your brain changes how you think, and this is totally natural and normal. Then all of a sudden you think there's a monster under your bed or in your closet. You say, Dad, you check and see if there's a monster in my closet. He looks and he says, there's no monster. And then you go, how do you know? Are you sure? Check again. And you start kind of questioning, are they really that authority in your life? Here's something I believe that's happened. A lot of research states that when adolescents become of age into that 13 realm, we need to start finding other people to come around the teen to help support what the parents have instilled in their teenager. Teens, I think that's a great thing for you to look for, is people that can help kind of parent you in some ways, kind of help your development. Parents, you want to look for those influences you can put around your kid. But even more importantly, teens, you should find a way to connect with your parents even when you're a teenager. And parents, hear me on this. You should be the authority in your kid's life. Not when they hit 13, we release them to these influences around them. Granted, great youth workers at churches, counselors at schools are great people to have around your kids. But you need to be primary, number one, influence talking to your kid. It doesn't happen a lot because teenagers start rebelling and they don't view you as the authority anymore. Here's why I believe. Authority is given to people who have experience. When I grew up, my dad was the absolute authority on cars because I saw my dad work on cars. He was a mechanic. He could have told me anything and I would have believed him because I knew he was that good about cars. My mom, she was my authority on birds. She knew everything about birds, berries, mushrooms, things in the woods that, you know, what you can eat, what you can't eat. She could have told me to eat anything in the woods. I probably would have ate it and trusted her. When it came to life, though, they weren't the authority. All of a sudden, it was people around me that I thought were cooler than my parents. People that I thought, you know, sometimes I found an older friend, had a buddy who was, you know, a couple years older. He was an authority because, man, he lived, you know, 2 years out ahead of me. I was 15, he was 17, and lived life so cool, and so he must know how to do it. Because I saw his life, I heard his stories, I lived his stories around him. So he became the authority on how to be a cool teen or a successful teen. Parents, you need to be engaging with your kids in a way that tells them your life story. That is the mission and journey of what we're going to be doing, is we are teaching teens to turn back to their parents, and we're going to be teaching parents how to tell your story in a way that successfully engages your kid. There's an art form to it, and I believe we're onto something with Mythos Project and Simple Mentoring. But guys, it is time for teens and parents to reconnect. Parents, accept your role as the authority. Learn how to communicate with your teen in a way that they look at you as that authority. They don't believe you know anything about the teenage years because they don't know who you were as a teenager. Are you showing them pictures? Are you telling them stories? Are you talking about different pieces of your life that make them look to you as the authority on those years? Teens, even if your parents aren't doing this, guess what? They were a teenager. They made bad moves and they made good moves. You get to be the one. If your parents aren't engaging you, step up and ask them stories. Ask them to tell you what it was like to be 13 and how they made it through. I get sick and tired. I'm a little bit passionate about this because I get sick and tired of seeing what's happened to the teenage-parent relationship. It is bifurcated. That's a dental term they use about a tooth gets bifurcated. It looks like it's together, but really it's broken underneath, and it's two different pieces, and at some point will die. Parents and teens, you live underneath one roof, But really, you're in totally different worlds underneath that one roof, and at some point, it's leading to unhealthy futures. We've got to reconnect and do some surgery on the family. So, all that said, I guess I'm just ranting today about the fact that it frustrates me that parents aren't the authority in teenagers' lives and ends up being some rap star that's a total idiot because they look at that person and they see him as somebody that is living life and doing it well, I guess. So all I have to say is that. Thanks for listening to me blow off some steam as the coffee thing is blowing off steam at the same time. That's that hissing noise. Talk to you guys soon. Actually, talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night.